welcome to Martech Advisor's Executive Interview Series. I'm Ginger Conlon, a contributing editor to Martech Advisor. And joining us today is Maria Pousa, who is CMO of Integral Ad Science. So we're going to talk about trends and opportunities with viewability in digital advertising and how to analyze it, verify it, and optimize it. So welcome, Maria.
Welcome, Ginger. Thanks for having me.
So glad you're here today. So before we dive into our topic, let's talk a little bit about Integral Ad Science. What is it and what makes it unique?
Integral Ad Science is a measurement and analytics company. We are here to provide our customers in the marketplace the solutions to verify, optimize, and analyze their digital campaigns. So what we are looking to do is help them mitigate risk, right, and making sure that they are reaching real humans with viewable messages in the right context. And then we use all that data to help the brands and agencies in the market to activate consumers along the customer journey.
Excellent. So let's dive in. Let's talk about digital advertising and viewability and those important related topics. So how are marketers and the IAB defining viewability today for ads and for video? And what are the most common methods that you're finding for analyzing that viewability today?
So the IAB and marketers, we typically use the definition of viewability established by the MRC, the Media Ratings Council. They define the standard being for display advertising is 50% of the ad in view for 1 second. And in the case of video is 50% of the ad in view for 2 continuous 2 seconds. So there's different things, right, like happening in the marketplace right now. We have like brands and agencies who are starting to customize what is that standard definition. So some of them might want to be for more than 1 second in view or more than 2 seconds in view. So it varies from brand to brand, and it varies from category to category as well. The way we do it from a technological perspective, we use a JavaScript tag to help analyze the page. And then we provide like different metrics to the customers so they can understand whether they have the opportunity to reach consumers with their messages.
Right. You know, it's interesting because it sounds like such a brief amount of time. It's so commonly quoted that people's attention span is so short. So you really only have a few seconds to get their attention anyway. So you've got to do it in that really brief amount of time.
Absolutely. And what we are seeing today is like the standard has become a little bit, the MRC defined the standard to be a minimum standard and a baseline for like brands and marketers. And the goal is not to optimize to 1 second. The goal would be for customers and brands to be able to optimize above 1 second, right? It's like 1 second you can only blink probably. And we have conducted research with many of our agency partners where we see there's a correlation between the exposure time that a consumer has to an ad unit with brand recall, unaided brand recall, and also purchase intent. So, and we may talk about it a little bit later, but like we definitely encourage brands not to stop at like the 1 second mark.
Right. Yeah, makes sense. So, what are some of the common reasons why marketers really need to understand viewability that can make the biggest impact on marketing performance?
Definitely, like like in the last, viewability is fairly still new. It's been in, it's a metric we have been following for a few years now. Maybe let's say like 3-4 years before, like we didn't really discuss what was the impact of viewability on campaigns. But ultimately, it's the opportunity of a consumer to be exposed to your advertising message. So it's as simple as that, right? Like there will be like, the consumer will not be able to recall your brand. They will not have interest or be aware of like what's your new product or offering. So we encourage brands to take viewability into consideration as a KPI for the campaigns. It's not a goal and it's not an objective, but if the campaign is not viewable, it does not have the opportunity to capture consumers' attention.
Right. Yeah, of course. And so on a related topic, let's talk about programmatic buying, because I think there's maybe some misunderstanding still about what the risks are related to that and how marketers can really get the most out of that. So are there high risks of viewability and brand safety, and how can marketers manage around that?
Such a hot topic, programmatic. It's been like the buzzword of the industry for a few years. And look, like we work with over 150 companies across the globe in the programmatic space. There's definitely been a movement for the past 2 years to clean up the inventory, understand what's the inventory sources they are bringing to the table for brands and marketers. And it's an automated buy, it's efficient, it helps the customers do data collection and better understand their consumers and their audiences. There are a lot of tools today that are available for programmatic buying and mitigate the risk related to programmatic buying. We offer predictive targeting segments for the brands, and our partners on the DSP side, they use those to anticipate what's the context of a page, for example, on a programmatic environment, and like, is it risky, is it like low risk, etc. And the same to anticipate what's the level of fraud or what's the level of viewability of that particular placement. So there's been tons of movement, and we have seen in the last about the last 12 months to 18 months that the delta between direct buys and programmatic buys in terms of those metrics is shrinking. So there's tools out there, and we want to encourage the brands to be able to invest in programmatic with confidence. There's a lot of opportunities.
Right. Yeah, it sounds like there's really been great strides made towards being able to use programmatic in a way that marketers can be comfortable and get those really trackable analytics as well.
Absolutely, right? Like we can see also like private marketplaces have surged in the marketplace, right? Where the transactions between publishers and brands. So it's definitely an efficient and automated buy. And the implications from a brand safety perspective, there are also reputation management for like the DSPs in the market, right? Like they also need to, it's their brand as well, and they need to make sure that like their sources are right, like they are clean, and the inventory they are bringing is going to make their customers succeed. Essentially, for them, this is their business. And we also advise and tell the customers is you get what you paid for. Also, like if the CPM is so low, they probably need to check where they're buying their inventory from.
Right. Yeah. Makes sense. So, you've mentioned a couple of the challenges in kind of getting this all right, but what are you seeing in terms of common challenges that marketers are having in ensuring viewability, and correctly analyzing the ad performance where there are perhaps viewability issues, or even just understanding what are the ideal metrics? So what advice do you have there?
Absolutely. So in terms of viewability, there's multiple things that come into play. Like a simple advice for viewability is around the placement. We see that placement that are not only above the fold, but the vertical like type of creative units, those tend to perform better, like the ones that are like landscape. So that's an easy fix. Also, the way the pages typically render, they render their stuff on the top left corner, and they go all the way to the bottom right corner. So put your logo on the top and put the logo on the left. It will render first, then the rest of the ad unit. Those are easy ones, but at the same time, we are seeing on data that if we optimize against the MRC standard, consumers are typically being exposed for 1 second, one time, for the lifetime of a campaign, and that will have no impact, essentially. So we are working with several brands on a beta project right now, and we are seeing like how do we redistribute the reach and frequency of the campaign to make sure that like consumers are exposed to the creative message of our customers. And there's definitely direct correlation in terms of time of exposure and success and business outcomes. So definitely like working with like for the brands that are watching this, work with your agency in terms of understanding best practices, and how to reallocate the campaign life cycle and how to reallocate the impressions, right, to expose consumers for more than 1 second.
Right. Yeah, and impressions are so important. You think about, I heard a great example years ago about a salesperson, sales trainer was talking about if you hammer a nail into a board one time, you can pull it right back out, right? But if you hammer a nail into a board several times, it makes it a lot harder. And that relates so much to viewability and marketing and making sure that your message is seen.
Absolutely. It's how our brain works, right? Like the ability to have recall of memories, and like it's the same thing with advertising and the same thing in digital. So optimizing against 1 second, that's gonna be tough.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And so you mentioned a couple of great ways to improve viewability. Any other recommendations that you have in that area?
From a viewability perspective, is work with the publishers, right? Like work with the publisher to make sure that like you understand the inventory you're coming on, right? Like on a programmatic buying, there's the opportunity to buy predictive targeting segments as well. If this is a KPI that matters to the brand, and like it should matter, right? Like how long will people have the opportunity to be exposed to your message? Work with also the DSP to make sure that like you're getting like meeting a certain threshold. Definitely like the agencies and the partners have to help guide the conversation.
Yeah, definitely. And so, if you think about how all this ties to the customer experience, of course, is another hot topic. And I feel like when you use programmatic and when you focus on viewability, you wind up delivering a better customer experience. So, is there anything that marketers can do in terms of those areas to improve customer experience that will make a big impact?
Yeah, look, since the election last year, we have seen so much related like movement happening around like also consumer experience. On the brand safety side, we have seen an increase, for example, of 40% for our services. Even on our website, it's become our most popular page. And there's a correlation between the context in which the ad is being placed from a brand safety perspective and the ad unit. So from a consumer experience, it's really up to the brand and up to what kind of consumer experience they want to provide, what are the values of the brand, what's the identity of the brand. So we work with our customers to help them decide and protect them and mitigate the risk in those placements. It changes from brand to brand. Some of them, they want to make sure that they are in like completely clean environments. So if it's a family-friendly product or like, let's say like a movie company, they might want completely like G-rated, right? Like that the whole family can watch it. And then we have other instances where we have brands that are a bit like targeting maybe like demographic groups of males 18 to 24, which they might be comfortable being in spaces where there alcohol content, on there's like a level of violence if it's a video game. So there's definitely tools available today in the market for brands to customize that experience, and also along the way pairing that up with making sure that the ad is viewable and the consumer has the opportunity to be exposed to the message.
Right, excellent. So let's wrap up with a look forward. What's coming up that you're excited about in two areas? One is any trend or tool that's coming out or in the market right now that's exciting for you, and also anything with integral ad science. Any new features or upgrades coming that we should know about?
Definitely exciting to be in a measurement and analytics company right now in the marketplace. Like if programmatic was the darling or the buzzword for like the last 2 years, measurement is certainly the new buzzword, right, for the industry. So very excited to be part of like the company and what's happening in the market and the data that it's being compiled and how we are, helping brands and agencies and publishers and programmatic partners make a more effective digital ecosystem. In terms of trends, I love AI as a marketer. There's so much data and it's so hard sometimes to make the right decision. So we have a data science team of like over 40 people in-house, and they're helping us also sort through like what are the right data sets, what are the things we need to pinpoint on, right, and improve the models as we go a long time. So it will be exciting to see, right, like how AI can help like marketers like us and see where it goes in the next like 2-3 years.
Yeah, that is definitely a hot topic. Well, Maria, thank you so much for all the great insight. Like you said, programmatic is such a hot topic and viewability, and so you gave such great insight on it today. Appreciate that you being here with us.
Thanks for your time, Ginger.
And I want to thank everyone who viewed the video and let you know that Maria and I also had a great conversation on what it takes to succeed as a marketer today. So be sure to check out that video as well. And also visit Martech Advisor's YouTube channel for other executive interview series interviews. And thanks again for being here.
Thank you.